To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. So before we get started in today's video, I need you to do me a favor if you wouldn't mind. Would you mind watching the entire video? And when you get to the end, I'm gonna have a little end screen that you can click and you can watch another video. You don't necessarily have to watch it. You can just go and do dishes and let it run for a few minutes. I'd really appreciate it. Today I thought I'd talk about self-sufficiency and debt. I recently put out a poll question and I said, can you be self-sufficient if you're in debt? And I was surprised by the results. 50% said no, 50% said yes. As you may know, Carolyn and I have been debt-free, gosh, what, 7 or 8 years now. We owe nothing to anybody. We pay everything for cash. It sure has been a huge relief doing that. We've been able to save money like nobody's business. It also teaches you how to stop spending money. There's just a massive amount of things that you start to learn when you become debt-free that I can't even explain. A lot of people say, hey, you use the Dave Ramsey method. Dave Ramsey is a radio talk show guy, talks about financial freedom. I've listened to him for a few times, but I didn't know I was using a Dave Ramsey method. But it was simply, I took the highest interest credit cards and the highest interest whatever, and I started paying for those first. I even owed money on taxes. I was paying monthly bills on taxes. When my ex-wife left, she left me $50,000 in debt. I'm not getting into whose fault it was or anything. We had $50,000 of debt and I got it. It forced me to work in a job that I really wanted to quit. And the thing is my employer knew I had to have the job. I also had child support, which was very expensive. It was almost $1,000 a month. I also had to give my child a vehicle. So I gave her the one I had and I bought the truck. Not saying it was the best thing in the world, it was just what I had to do. So here I had a payment on one vehicle and a payment on another vehicle so I could pay child support. I mean, that was part of the child support agreement, was the car. Since I was 18 years old, I've had debt. It was 1999, January 1st. I was injured in a car accident. I was a passenger in a car accident. Got sideswiped, broke all my ribs, and I couldn't work. And so I had this pickup truck. It was a 2-year-old pickup truck, 1997 Chevy S10. And I think I was paying like $325 a month on it. So, of course, they came and took the truck. It was just a constant nightmare. Debt is just constant stress, constant fear. Like I said, that job I had where I was in so much debt, they were always threatening to fire me, always. Just so I'd bend over backwards. I was working 16, 18 hours a day. It was miserable. And there was nothing I could do about it except pay off the debt. As soon as we got the debt paid off, I immediately started stacking all our money into a savings account. And before you knew it, I mean, man, we had a really significant savings account. I was really proud of it. Never had that kind of cash laying around before. Well, then we started our nomad life, and I started my little private business again. I'd been in business for myself before. We was able to live on very little money and still put money back in the savings account. Once you learn how to stop spending money, life becomes so easy. The thing about debt is they control you. First of all, you have to pay someone so they give you money. And it's not cheap. I mean, I could go through all the numbers, and I've went through the numbers before. It's incredible how much money you spend so you can have money. It's not worth it to me. I will never give anybody money to give me money. I'm just going to throw out some fictitious numbers. Let's say you pay $20,000 for a new vehicle. And by the time you get it paid for, you've paid $28,000. Was the truck worth $28,000? And the answer is no. When you do Blue Book value, they don't take in the interest that you paid. So then we talk about self-sufficiency, and we try to mix that into the mix. Anytime I talk about being in debt and owning a piece of property, well, you don't own it anyways, you gotta pay taxes. They can come and get it as soon as you don't pay the taxes. And yeah, well, you're right. So what you're saying is the government is making you pay money, but then you're gonna voluntarily pay money to own properties. So I want to be self-sufficient. I want to live on my own piece of property, and I want to have solar panels and chickens and cows and goats and all that. And I want to pay someone so I can do that. and the government. Well, here we only pay $25 a year for taxes, so I can make $25 a year selling chicken eggs. Carolyn used to own 8 acres with a mobile home on it, and she was only paying $250 a year. So what is that? Basically $20 a month that she'd have to save back. It's a lot easier to come up with money that you save up all year long than it is to constantly have to pay interest. The thing I struggle with is they can tell you what to do with your property if you get a loan. When I was buying a house, we had to buy insurance and taxes in our house payment. So our house payment, I think, was $125, but we ended up paying $300 a month for the insurance and the taxes. So they would collect that all year long and then pay it on our behalf. Well, I wanted to install a wood stove, and so I called the insurance company and they said, no, you can't have a wood stove. That's a fire hazard. So I wanted to be more self-sufficient in my home when I bought the house. This was years ago, and I wasn't able to be more self-sufficient. So to answer the question simplistically, when I made that poll, the answer is no. If you have debt, you cannot be self-sufficient because they won't even let you have a wood stove. So we bought this property and we spent $5,000 on our tiny house. Now, is it what you would want? A realistic world? No, everybody wants to, at least a 400 square foot house. Mine's less than 200 square feet. But if I do it under 200 square feet, there's several things that I can do here. One, the government isn't regulating me because I didn't have any codes that I had to follow. Nobody came in and done inspections and made sure I was doing everything correctly. And secondly, it was only $5,000. So I don't even have to insure this house. It's easier for me to save back $100 a month. What, in 5 years, I could buy the house again. Whereas if I was paying insurance, I could spend $100 a month for the rest of my life. It never burned down. I've lost all that money. So there's just a lot of advantages to being debt free. You have the power to do what you want. Now, when we talk about self-sufficiency, what does that mean? Self-sufficiency. Well, it means self. You're relying on yourself to do everything. Well, how can you rely on yourself if you have a boss telling you how to spend your money? That's not self-sufficient. That's relying on someone else. So it's no different than relying on the government to take care of you. I mean, we all complain about the taxes. Oh, you got to pay taxes. Yeah, that's terrible enough. Why would I want to volunteer to pay more and have more control over me? I already don't like the control I got, so I'm not going to get more. Let's just say that you decide to buy a piece of property and you're going to put animals on it, chickens and different things. Then you're going to sell those things, whatever that is. Let's say it's chicken eggs, just for an example. I mean, you're going to have to do more than chicken eggs, but you're going to sell chicken eggs so you can make the payment to your property. Well, let's say for whatever reason you can't sell eggs this month. You're stuck in the snowstorm, or the chickens froze, or anything could happen. The chicken coop burned down. Anything could happen, right? So now you have all these animals sitting around. The loan company comes and takes the property away. What are you going to do with all the animals? It's never ending stress when you owe somebody. And there's just no way that's self-sufficient, self-reliant. Someone commented on that post about trying to make money from your self-sufficient lifestyle. If you're trying to buy with your products, it's going to be nearly impossible. I mean, it's bad enough that you're going to be trying to buy your own food or raise your own food or whatever the case is, but then try to make extra money to buy that property. I don't recommend that you go out and buy a huge piece of property. And I think that's what everybody's dream is. We're going to go out on a mountaintop somewhere away from civilization. We're going to buy 25 acres and we're going to live this isolated lifestyle. We didn't do that, obviously. We live on an acre and a half in Missouri. I was able to spend the $4,200 on this piece of property. I paid cash. I don't have insurance on it, and the way I get away without having insurance on it is I put up a no trespassing sign. In the state of Missouri, if someone does not have permission to be on your property and they get hurt on your property, you are not responsible for them. But you cannot give them implied permission. So like if a kid walks across your yard every day to go to school, and you never stop him from going across your yard, and then he gets hurt and and then you say, well, he was trespassing. No, he wasn't trespassing because he did it every day and you never stopped him. you have to stop him the first time he comes on the property. So we put up our no trespassing sign, and I'm quite satisfied that everybody around me knows not to come on the property. The reason I know that is before I put up the sign, everybody was coming over to try to introduce themselves. As soon as I put it up, nobody has been around here. So now I have my personal space. You know, you want to get on top of the mountaintop with 25 acres. I have my personal space. I'm away from people on my 1.5 acres, and I was able to afford it. So then I spent another $5,000, which I just told you, to build a tiny house. Well, there's several things with the tiny house. One, if I wanted to get a loan for the house, I would have had to build a regular size house. So now I'm buying a house for, let's say, $60,000, plus all the interest and the taxes and the insurance. So now I'm going to be up to, you know, $500–600 a month on a house that I didn't want in the first place. They all have control over you. They all tell you what you're going to do with your property. How is that self-reliant? So my recommendation, and I don't give a lot of money advice. I don't tell you what to buy. Or the first step to freedom, to happiness, is being debt-free. So immediately start looking at your highest credit cards and giving them extra money each month. Get that out of the way. As soon as you get debt-free, your whole world opens up. Now, if you can do me a favor real quick, if you can click the little icon right here and watch that video. You don't have to watch it. You can go and do something else. It tells the algorithm that you really like this video. I hope I can inspire you to find the true sense of freedom so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.